have here a 150 meter roll of guy wire. Now the key dimensions on this is that the cable itself is a total diameter of 2.6 millimeters, and it's made up of 7 separate strands, which you can see here. Okay, now what will we use guy wire for? Well, it's primarily used in 2 ways. Number one, we'll say if we have a high pole, such as supporting a TV aerial or a wind turbine, something like this, we'll use guy wires close to the top to stabilize it. Or if we're trying to run a cable between 2 buildings, for example, if we're trying to run a Cat5 or an RG6, we'll normally use something like eye bolts bolted into the wall. We'll run across the guy wire, and then we'll actually use this to support the cable. So what I'm going to do is a quick overview of how we fit it on. So what I have here is a 3-way guy wire hook, which I'm simply going to slide onto this pole. And the important thing is that we have the hooks pointing upwards. We just tighten it in here, and what we could do at that point is we could actually tie the guy wire directly onto it, or even better is to use something like this tensioner here. So what we do is normally is we fully extend this tensioner, we'd come along, we'd tie the guy wire around here. Now an important thing with the guy wire, it's not just enough to tie it around once, we should tie it around repeatedly, maybe 4 or 5 times, and then tie it back, so that when you put tension onto the cable, it'll actually tighten into position rather than loosen off. So the more tension we put on, we want it to be tighter and tighter on the hook. So what we'll do here is, if you can imagine we've tied the guy wire onto this, what we'll do at this point is we simply come along and we grab the actual eye bolt hook here and grab it on here, and the tensioner there. And on the far end then, on the ground, just put this down for a second, on the far end there, bolted into either directly to the ground or more commonly onto a wall or a concrete structure, what we'll have is something like an eye bolt here. So what we'll do is we tie the far end of the guy wire onto this, and then we'll just tension into position. And obviously we'll repeat the process 3 times for a 3-way guy hook, or 4 times for a 4-way guy hook. Now if we're running it between 2 buildings, normally what we'll do is we'll simply bolt in an eye bolt into either building. We can run the cable directly across, or if we want to make sure that we've good tension, once again we can use it in conjunction with this eye bolt here, or the tensioner here, come along and tighten the wire, or just put one on it. Another bolt we can use it with is something like this J-bolt. Once again, we'd wrap it around repeatedly, and then we'd put tension onto it by simply tightening on this nut and pulling the tension this way. So the 150 meter reel is quite popular. It comes in a heavy duty plastic roll like that, so it doesn't, you know, you can leave it out in the rain and things like that, will be fine. But also inside the range we have an also popular 50 meter range. So all of these products I'm displaying here are available on the tvtrade.ie website.